Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Boleh dengar suara madam
Boleh.
Salam boleh madam.
Okay, kita tunggu lagi beberapa minit. Ni grup H07 kan?
Ya.
Yes, madam.
H7 ni SV ni siapa ya?
Dr. Dirwana.
Okay.
Siapa yang standby pasang slide You all pasang ke Secretariat, Liana?
Kami pasang, madam.
You all pasang Okay, boleh pasang
Presenter
slide.
yang akan pesangkan.
Represent.
Boleh buka slide dululah sementara kita tunggu. Okay ke tu slide tu? Okay, now 10 AM. Dr. Nadia okay ke? Dr. Nadia boleh kita start ke?
Boleh. Persilakan madam.
Okay, so kalau tak ada apa-apa kita boleh start sebab kita nanti takut ada drag waktu grup yang lain-lain juga kan. Okay, so dengan lafaz Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, you all boleh start your presentation now.
Good morning to Dr. Nomadia binti Nordin and Puan Nurul Fadila binti Abdul Razak. Today we will present our research on topic the impact of e-learning on academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. Our group members are Fatin Fazana binti Roslan, Fatin Izani binti Cehmat, Lata anak perempuan I yang Kanu, and myself, Ashur Naibin, Fatah Akhir. Our agenda are first, introduction, second, literature review, third, methodology, fourth, data analysis, five, discussion, and lastly, conclusion. Introduction. Background of study. By mid-March 2020, most states in Malaysia had discovered case and some had issued statewide university closure and stay-at-home order. The majority of university students were ordered to quit their dormitories and residence halls immediately. In many cases, without their belongings and were instead to finish their academic work on the digital platform. Traditional education methods were abandoned in favor of e-learning. E-learning aims to give teachers and learners the ability to study from anywhere. Most of their platforms are free. However, there are several disadvantages to e-learning that affect the students' academic performance. The study aims to investigate the impact of e-learning on the academic performance of university students in Malaysia during the COVID-19 pandemic. Problem statement. First, according to some studies, students who lack motivation are greatly influenced by external factors. As an example, the teaching atmosphere, the instruction period, and the instrument aid, all of which affect their achievement during e-learning classes. Second, increased level of stress and anxiety and despair have been documented among students on e-learning classes during COVID-19 pandemic, as well as the intensification of specific negative emotions, for instance, worries, tension, and loneliness. Third, procrastination behavior is known as postponing academic tasks always or the majority of the time and worrying about delayed academic responsibility due to poor internet in e-learning classes, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Research objective. First, to identify the relationship between lack of motivation and academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. Second, to examine the relationship between mental health and academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. Third, to determine the relationship between procrastination behavior and academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. Research question. First, what is the relationship between lack of motivation and academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic? Second, what is the relationship between mental health and academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic? Third, what is the relationship between procrastination behavior and academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic? And I will pass to my friend.
Thank you, Naim. I'm Fatin Izani binti Cekman. I will continue this presentation with literature review. Next slide. For your information, in this study, we have one dependent variable and three independent variable. Dependent variable is academic performance. E-learning has a detrimental effect on student academic performance since it makes it more difficult for them to understand what is being taught or delivered to them. Next slide. Independent variable first is lack of motivation. Next slide. Student nature of learning, learning techniques, and learning habits may change in the setting of the COVID-19 pandemic, which may impact their motivation to study. Because of the large number of tasks they get each day, most students are suffering from a lack of motivation. Student academic performance is impacted by a loss of desire because they lost their incentive to study via e-learning. The primary obstacle to e-learning include the loss of social interaction, administrative and teacher difficulties, time and support, and learner motivation during COVID-19 pandemic. Students who have poor self-motivation or planning skill, they have may struggle to keep up with deadlines that are consistent while pursuing their virtual course that give impact on their academic performance. Next slide. Second is mental health. The COVID-19 pandemic has come to light concern over the mental health of university students, namely elevated levels of stress and anxiety. The lockdown suddenly changed the population routines and freedom of mobility. As a result, mental health issues such as worry, fear, depressive symptoms, loneliness, and insomnia have developed to some extent. The high level of mental health symptoms that were seen in students seem to have been encouraged by the uncertainty and the possible adverse effect on academic achievement during e-learning classes. And the last one is procrastination behavior. Procrastination is linked to executive process such as planning and self-control such as initiating or stop acting. Several studies have shown that procrastinating negatively impacts e-learning, course attitude, and academic performance. Academic procrastination leads to uncomfortable sensation and poor learning outcomes. Low or high self-esteem influence academic procrastination during e-learning. As a result, student procrastination behavior cause academic failure. Next. This is our research framework that show independent variable relationship with dependent variables. Uh, Next is research hypothesis. We have three hypotheses in our study. First is there is a significant relationship between lack of motivation and academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemics. Second hypothesis is there is a significant relationship between mental health and academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. And the last one is there is a significant relationship between procrastination behavior and academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. So that's all from me. I will pass to my friend Fatim Fazana.
Thank you, Fatin Zani. Now I will continue to research methodology. Research design. This study used a quantitative methodology as a method to investigate the issue. The survey sample conducted on university students aged 18 years old and above. Next is target population. The study is focused on university students in Malaysia to find out the main effect of e-learning on academic performance of university during COVID-19 pandemic. The location to collect data at University Malaysia Kelantan, University Teknologi Malaysia, University Putra Malaysia, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, and University Teknologi Mara. Next is sampling method. A non-probability sampling technique was chosen in this research as a convenient sampling technique. And data collection procedure. The research has one method of data collection, which is a survey method. Questionnaire use Google Form and was sent to the respondents through social media such as WhatsApp and Telegram. Next is sample size. Based on KG and Morgan, 1970, the appropriate number derived from 135,570 students is 384 respondents. And the last one is statistic tools. The researchers are used SPSS, reliability analysis, descriptive analysis, and Bayesian correlation. Next. Data analysis. Frequency analysis. The result of frequency analysis for the gender, age, race, educational level, year of education and student status, distribution of 384 respondents. As you can see, the table clearly indicates that female respondents will get higher frequency more than male respondents. Next, among these three age groups, the highest frequency of respondents was from the age of 21 to 23 years old. The majority of the respondents that were involved in this questionnaire is Malay. The result indicated that the majority of respondents were from bachelor's degree level. Referring to the table, it showed that third year students have the highest frequency compared to others. Lastly, the majority of the respondents that were involved in this questionnaire is full-time students. Next is descriptive analysis. There were 6 question measures for all the variables. For variable lack of motivation had the highest mean 3.7 on the statement my lack of motivation affect my academic performance. For variable mental health had the highest mean 3.94 on the statement I'm experiencing stress during e-learning. For variable procrastination behavior had the highest mean 3.94 on the statement procrastination will occur when I'm writing a term or research paper. And the last one for variable e-learning on academic performance had the highest mean 3.19 at the statement challenging to keep students engaged in e-learning. Next is reliability analysis. The result for the variables for each section of the questionnaire are acceptable because all the values are more than 0.700 compared to R. The first independent variable, which is lack of motivation, is 0.774, which resulted as a good strength of expression. The second independent variable, mental health, is 0.880, which resulted in a very good strength of expression. Next, procrastination behavior is 0.706, which is a good strength of expression. And last, for the dependent variable on academic performance is 0.709, which resulted in a good strength of association and all the variables have failed equation. Next is question analysis. To identify the relationship between lack of motivation and academic performance of the university student in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic, is moderate predictive with correlation coefficient of 0.196. Hypothesis 2 to examine the relationship between the health and academic performance of the university student in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic is moderate predictive with a correlation coefficient of 0.549. And the last one, to identify the relationship between procrastination behavior and academic performance of the university student in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic is moderate predictive with correlation coefficient of 0.549. Overall, this result indicate that all the hypotheses were supported. Next, I will pass to Lata.
Thank you, Fateh. Now I continue my presentation. Discussion. Hypothesis 1. A moderate positive correlation relationship between independent variable 1, lack of motivation, and dependent variable academic performance at R equal to 0.516 and p-value shows below 0.01. These findings have been supported by Rahim 2021. The researchers' findings have shown a significant relationship between lack of motivation and academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. The student has experienced low motivation, which occurs when student does not want to study because of challenges in certain courses that result in poor academic performance. Hypothesis 2. A moderate positive correlation relationship between independent variable 2, mental health, and dependent variable academic performance at R equal to 0.549 and p-value shows below 0.01. Student high level of stress and anxiety seem to be impacted by the uncertainty and the possibility of a negative effect on academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. These findings have been supported by Giusti et al. 2021. And lastly, hypothesis 3, a moderate positive correlation relationship between independent variable 3 procrastination behavior and dependent variable academic performance at R equal to 0.517 and p-value shows below 0.01. These findings have been supported by Teaser et al. 2020. The researchers' findings have shown a significant relationship between procrastination behavior and academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. Students will get poor marks if they continue to demonstrate their procrastination behavior on regular basis. Next. Limitations. The researcher noticed that online learning poses a variety of difficulties for respondents, especially in courses involving practical skills, which is a limitation of this study. Next limitation is the study used the quantitative research method and the data was gathered through the use of questionnaires, which are better suited for communicating and interacting directly with university students. The researcher restriction in doing this research was delivering the questionnaire using a Google form via an internet survey to the appropriate people at appropriate time. The Google form only sent to the student through WhatsApp and Telegram. Recommendation. Future studies should use students with practical skills to discover more about their perception of the impact of e-learning on the academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. Future research should utilize other variables as independent variables such as students' attitude because these findings reveal that students' attitude about e-learning change from the beginning to the end of the class. In the future, the research suggests utilizing a qualitative method for any research on this topic because it is able to obtain data and much faster than a quantitative method. The research of the future may also collect data by utilizing other social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, and WeChat. Future studies can also develop independent variables in order to be more specific. Next, conclusion. The research has seen the result of three independent variables, which are lack of motivation, mental health, and procrastination behavior, have a significant relationship with academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. This study proves that the independent variable, namely lack of motivation, mental health, and procrastination behavior, have a moderate positive correlate with the academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. The result of the data indicate that lack of motivation, mental health, and procrastination behavior is significantly impact of e-learning on academic performance of university students in Malaysia during COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you. That's all from us.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for your presentation. Alright. Okay. First of all, okay, congratulations for you guys to complete your presentation. Okay, your first presentation. Alright. Dr. Nadia, you want to ask the question first?
Ya. Okey, terima kasih. Tanya berjaya habiskan project paper kan? Okay. And very good topic, very relevant to the current academic situation lah. Okay. I just want to ask, instead of you analyze about the relationship between the independent variable dan juga dependent variable, your study only see the correlation ataupun relationship, betul tak? Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
What is the most important factor ataupun most important variable that yang influence the academic performance? Sebab saya tengok based on the result of the relationship tu, correlation is just a moderate ataupun positive and moderate relationship. But you should state that in your study lah. Faktor mana yang paling the most significant ataupun the most influence factor yang mempengaruhi kepada academic performance lah. Antara health lagi,
Lack of motivation and
lack of
procrastination.
motivation dan satu lagi okay.
Procrastination.
Ada tak buat run analysis ataupun regression analysis? Have you run the regression analysis?
No, doctor.
Tak. Macam mana?
The most
Boleh
influence.
tunjuk balik tak tajuk? Can you show back your topic, your title?
Okay, sure. 9 present.
Tak ada masalah sebenarnya, cuma kalau nak bagi significant, you punya study most significant, you have
Is madam asking about the realitability analysis?
the impact of e-learning on academic performance kan? Okay, kalau bolehlah cadangan my suggestion, you buat sedikit analisis the most significant factor yang mempengaruhi academic performance of the university student in Malaysia. Boleh tak? Tambah sikit saja analisis. Run sikit je. Boleh tak? Just click je regression, then you get the result.
Is that
Betul
doctor
tak?
in conclusion part, doctor?
Yes, conclusion part. The most significant sebab because based on the correlation analysis tu, sebab semuanya 0.5 sahaja. Tak ada faktor yang paling mempengaruhi kan. So kita nak tengok jugalah the most significant factor lah. Okay?
Okay, doctor.
Itu saja cadangan saya. Tapi kalau you all rasa tak nak ubah, tak ada masalah. Bagi saya for significant for the research tu, letaklah the most significant factor.
For
Boleh?
our research, the most significant impact is mental health, where we get 0.549.
0.5 tu you just run for the correlation.
Yes.
You tengok juga kalau you just tekan regression, faktor mana yang paling mempengaruhi? Sebab dia 0.51, 0.54, 0.517. Dia just similar dia punya result dia kan. Mungkin kalau you cuba tekan dekat awak punya SPSS kan,
Yes, doctor.
juga klik je kat situ, run regression sahaja. Boleh tengok the most significant.
Okay, doctor.
Okay lah. Okay, itu sahaja pada saya. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
Okay, thank you Dr. Nadia. Okay, my question for you guys. Nak tanya banyak ni. Nak sikit ke nak banyak?
Nak sikit.
Okay. Okay, relax. Okay. Alright. Okay. So please go to the slide. Please your problem statement. Okay. So so according to your slide, okay, your problem statement is according to self-study student. Okay. So this is the current trend, which is what we happen about the current situation. Okay, apa yang you all go through juga sebenarnya. Okay, so your problem statement. Okay, madam nak tanya. Okay, what do you understand by your problem statement actually? Do you think that you doing the right problem statement? That you doing the right problem statement, but madam nak tengok your kefahaman, maksudnya your understanding sebenarnya problem statement apa yang you all nak fokuskan dekat sini sebenarnya daripada the whole your study ni, sebenarnya apa yang you all dapat the problem statement yang you can see.
From the problem statement, this research is totally about the current situation happen in our country, which is the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic. So as a student, we also been through in that situation where we are usually start with our classes, normal classes, traditional classroom to e-learning classroom. So from the changes has impacted the student. So these are the problems that we face. for example, the lack of motivation, the stress that we face going through the e-learning classes, and the procrastination behavior such as unable to do the task that given by the lecturers. So these are the problem that we faced, and we explain in our research. That's it from here.
Okay, thank you, Lata. Okay, my next question, okay, before we ended this presentation. Okay, but for this time, I want the other person to answer the question. Okay, not Lata only. Kalau tidak, nanti Lata seorang je lah dapat markah nanti. Okay, okay. Okay, what do you see the contribution of your study? Okay, your study is about the student university. Okay, so what can you see the contribution for your study, the student university ni, what they can get from your study? Anyone? Okay, Naim.
Our research make the student know the problem like COVID-19 situation. From data say we switch e-learning in traditional face-to-face and change to e-learning online. So the changes situation make the student like our people to get mental health or procrastination behavior because I said that because our internet not all good, so it can make the problem something like that. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Naim. All right. Okay, so I think that's all for the presentation. For the question. Okay. Dr. Nadia, do you have any question anymore?
Tak ada dah. Postal
Okay.
code berapa ya grup ni?
H07.
H07. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, tahniah ya.
Okay, so congratulations for you guys. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.